My name is Heather Bleechmore. I'm the Branch Manager of Collection Care and Conservation at the Australian Museum. Part of the word conservation means to keep things together. Conservators work to do that, and that can be in a physical sense or a chemical sense, and more recently it's been more in a cultural sense as well.
Conservation is the scientific practice for maintaining our collections, where we do everything possible to delay or slow down, stop if we can, the natural laws of deterioration. My name is Sheldon Teare. I'm Senior Conservator here at the Australian Museum. So that means I get to work across the whole collection. I work with our collection staff to ensure that all our specimens are cared for and preserved for the future.
The conservation team at the Australian Museum works right in the middle. If you had a Venn diagram that had overlays of exhibitions and loans, outreach, research, we'd be at the centre of it. So conservation works on a kind of cross-section level. It's a unique position to be in a museum.
The Conservator works hard to maintain our collections. We do this through maintaining environments around the collections, as well as carrying out treatments where appropriate to ensure the collections are in a stable and sound condition well into the future. I work on the Life and Geosciences collections. That can mean almost anything from our collections can come across my desk. It could be a tiny butterfly, it could be a whale skeleton, meteorites. The array is what keeps me so interested in what I do.
I've spent a lot of my career working in the cultural collections, and I think those objects to me have so much teaching and learning in them. Their connection to country, their connection to people. They have a real human quality about them because they're made by humans from the natural world. I think it's very easy to become absorbed in the artistry of humans.
One of the biggest misconceptions is we often get confused with restorers. Restorers tend to be very skilled artisans and are incredibly talented in their field. They tend to take an old object or an artefact and they can make it quite whole again, so you can interact with it again. A conservator looks more to preserve the history of that object. We don't necessarily remove all traces of damage or deterioration. We seek to stabilise. I particularly like working on taxidermy specimens. They present a range of interesting issues for a conservator to deal with and require a fair amount of intervention. And they're also very popular, so they often come up in exhibitions. But my absolute favourite material type would be bones. I like to test my anatomy skills whenever I'm working on osteological mounted specimens.
One of the biggest discoveries for me was using the CT scan on one of the Australian Museum's Egyptian mummies. What we found through the CT scan was the opposite of what was found in the 1970s through X-rays, was that the skeleton was that of a man, but the CT scan found that it was the skeleton of a woman. So that changed the whole story of that person and their life, and so changed the record of that object. Another project that I worked on that was really interesting was the Lord Howe Island diorama, which was a public-facing conservation treatment. We completed that treatment over 8 months in one of the galleries.
We need to preserve our collections so that people in the future will still have access to them. It's not all about us right now. We have no idea what new scientific breakthroughs, technology might come about in the future that has the potential to unlock even more information from our collections. What we do to our collections, how we preserve them, how we manage them, and how we care for them will have impacts on the potential research into the future.
The museum's collections won't ever stop offering new discoveries, new connections through research and through community. So it's really important to make sure that they last.